Hello and welcome to episode 38 of the Yarnflakes podcast. My name is Audrey and this is a podcast mainly about knitting, but also some other yarny crafts from the southwest of France. Welcome to all new and returning viewers. It's so nice to have you here this week to chat a little bit about fiber arts with me. I hope you all had a nice week, that this first month of 2018 ended well. This week I have quite some knitting with exciting finished objects and a couple of new cast-ons as well. But I will also share weaving and cross-stitch, and at the end of the episode I will share my newest TV series recommendation. You can find timestamps to all those different sections of the podcast in the description down below, so if you're not interested in any of that, you can skip it right away. There will also be links to everything that I talk about, as well as my social media. You can pretty much find me everywhere as Yarnflakes. And I will not rant about the weather today and start right away with the knitting content of this episode. I cannot show you the first finished object I have because it has been shipped to its recipient. But this is my stray cat socks that I made for my boyfriend, and I will insert a picture right here. They were made out of the mulled wine colorway in the deluxe base, which has a little bit of cashmere in it. Simple vanilla sock with a German short row heel. And yeah, not much to say about those. I have another pair of vanilla socks, the Molly Weasley socks that I am currently making for myself. And after that, I think I won't be making vanilla socks for a little bit. Get kind of bored with it, and I really want to focus on making pattern socks because I have so many beautiful patterns that I want to make. And I have yarn that is appropriate for it. So yeah, if I manage to make a few socks in between the 10,000 sweaters, they will probably be patterned socks. But you know, the thing is, I currently have a blanket that I will show you again a little bit later, and this is pretty much my plain movie knitting, so I don't really need a vanilla sock right now. But I do have lovely self-striping and patterning yarn that will definitely look better as pure stockinette, so I will save those for when I feel more like it. I burned myself. Gonna put some cream. Little tip: if you burn yourself or generally have dry skin, I don't remember who it is, but I remember someone saying that they were having problems this winter with knitting with dry yarns and it was hurting them. I personally never found anything that is as good as shea butter for moisturizing, so either pure shea butter if you can find it, or something that has at least 20% of shea butter in it is the most moisturizing thing ever. So yeah, that's what I'm spreading on my burn right now. A effort that I can't show you, and me putting cream on my burnt arm. What a lovely start of the episode. There, it shouldn't hurt anymore in a little bit. Thankfully, I have a really good second finished object, and it is my Ginsberg cardigan / shrug. Yes, I have finished it, and yes, it is blocked, and I finished it on Friday, and I put it to block instantly, and it took 4 days to dry. But luckily, it is now ready for me to wear and to show you. So, in case you have missed the previous episode, this is the Ginsberg Shrug by Nougat. It's part of a Brooklyn Tweed collection, and it is an open cardigan with a very interesting shape. I'm gonna try to show it to you a little bit better. So, yes, that's what it looks like. It is very roomy. It has several texture panels, sort of a broken rib stockinette, reverse stockinette, and those big cable going down the back and the fronts. And it has just little sleeves. Here's the bottom ribbing. I was a bit scared when I bind off the bottom ribbon because, you know, it was making those frills. So when blocking, I made sure to lay it as flat as possible. It meant that I needed to overlap the fronts, but luckily it resolved itself. And yes, it is so roomy and comfortable, and it is much more wearable than I was thinking it would be. Say properly again. Yeah, the thing is, it's a very structured cardigan, and when you look at it on the model, it looks very high fashion, you know, this kind of things that you're like, oh, that looks really good in the picture. But actually it's super wearable because it is drapey and it's not too heavy. I used Drops Alaska, which I am really happy with. It's a really good value. It's not my favorite Drops yarn. I prefer the wool and alpaca blend because it's a little bit, I don't know, it doesn't feel as cheap when you knit with it. What I mean is that, so this is 100% wool and it's loosely plied, and I don't know, it feels like it's a little bit it's not itchy at all. I can wear it next to skin without problem. It has a texture that feels not plasticky, but almost. You see, it doesn't have that woolly, fluffy thing that I like about natural wools. But it is soft, it is draping really well, it has a good stitch definition, and it blocked beautifully. It didn't grow massively. I believe it is superwash. Usually Drops yarns are superwash. And it just stayed really well, and it doesn't look like it's going to peel, which is something I was afraid of because of how loosely it is plied. But it doesn't look like it's going to peel much. So the yarn and the pattern are a great combination. I'm really happy of my choice. And the color, it's very true to color right now. Maybe it's a little bit darker than this, but I just like this olivey green that I have everywhere. Even my earrings are matching today. Yes, I did it on purpose. But yeah, I'm so happy with it. It's really wearable. You see, I just put a t-shirt. I assume it will look good with the dress as well on. Jeans. Yeah. And it's warm. So I felt it's going to be a nice outer garment as well for the spring, before it gets too hot outside and I have to switch to a jean jacket or something. I just feel like it. I didn't follow exactly the instructions for the armhole edging. That's the only place where I didn't do exactly what the pattern says. I picked up much more stitches than it said. It said to pick up 56 stitches, and I would have had big holes and it would have been a pain. So I just picked up evenly not to have holes, and then you're knitting a 2x2 rib, and the pattern says to knit for 2 inches, which is 5 centimeters, isn't it? And I did, and it was way too big. Like, I bind off the first one and it was really too big, and I didn't like the look of it. So I ripped it off and I only made this little bit. Maybe it's 2.5, so maybe I did half the ribbing that the pattern suggests. And then you decrease. The pattern says to decrease to 52. I don't know. But anyway, I wrote it down on my notes and I don't remember what I did. I have the number 60 in mind, so I believe I ended up picking up 60 stitches, and then I decreased like the pattern says just before binding off. And the way you do this is that you have an edge exactly like this one to this side that you seamed, and then when you pick up wrong side out so that this edge stands out. Can you see it better on that one? Yeah, a little bit. So you kind of have a rolled edging just before the ribbing, which is a really nice detail. And then you bind off purlwise so that it makes another little bump on your edge. And yeah, they reach my elbow, which is nice. If I wear it a bit more like that, they're even lower, and it's a really versatile garment. And what I really want to insist on is how amazing it was to knit. I really liked it, and it definitely encourages me to be more thoughtful about the constructions of the sweater that I make. That is, either try to modify them myself or look for patterns that have interesting constructions, that aren't just top-down raglan, which is mostly what I've done so far. So I want to try drop shoulders. I want to look for bottom-up ways that satisfy me. I want to satin sleeves, sewn garments. I'm gonna make quite a few of them. Yeah, interesting necklines, things like that. This, I'm gonna take it off and run you through the construction of it one last time. Because now that it's finished, maybe it's going to be more easy to see. So you start at the bottom, not the ribbing. You start here with these sections here, and you knit up, decreasing, which is these lines you see here, until you reach that point, and you have about like 10 stitches. Then you pick up both fronts along that line, that sloped line. Then you knit the 2 fronts, down. You join everything to do the ribbing. You seam the side, and you seam. Did I already seam last time I talked to you? No, I think not. And I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure how much to seam and if the pattern would have been very clear on that, and it is. You seam it up until you reach that line from the back, from the sloped back. And then you pick up and make the little armhole edges. And yeah, it's just really engaging. It's easy, but it keeps you interested. And so does the texture panel. Even though I am not super happy with the chart, I feel it could have used lines every 5 stitches, for example, considering a 70 stitch chart which have mostly knit and purls and like long sections of knit and pearls, so it's easy to not recognize where you are at first. But once you've established the different sections, you know where you are. I mean, you know that this part, you recognize it in the pattern, so you know that you need to do this in that horizontal limit. And yeah, the cabling was interested as well. It has a pearl stitch in the center, and yeah. But yeah, the chart could have used like lines every 5 stitches, you know. But it's fine. It's really interesting to do, and it's in bulky weight, which makes it pretty fast considering how big of a garment it actually is. So yeah, it's just cozy. I can wrap myself in it, and it kind of looks like a cape, and it's really nice. So that's my first finished sweater of this year, and I am very happy with it. And I think we're off to a good year of garments. If all of my projects can end up as nice as this, I will be very happy. On to works in progress, and I will just show you the chevron garter blanket that I am making for a wedding gift for this May. And so this is the pattern by Minna Philip, and I just wanted to show you that I have done one full repeat of the colors that I want. So it's those 5 colors, and I finished one full repeat, and I've just made like one row of the beige again. I am using an acrylic yarn, Phildar Charly, in those 5 shades. And so what I wanted to say is that this is 60 centimeters. So I will only need to make 3 repeats of those, which will bring the blanket to a little less than 2 meters, which is plenty. So I only needed to get one more ball of yarn. So yes, I do want to make 3 full repeats. I think it will look weird if I make 2 full repeat and then I stop here. It will bug me, and I don't know how OCD are the persons that I am going to gift them to, the bride and the groom. But if I am bothered by this, I'm not too OCD, but if I am bothered by this, I don't want to risk it. So I will make 3 full repeats and end with the grey. So yeah, this is my TV knitting, and I haven't worked much on it last week. I definitely did a lot when I first started it. Like I did the first 3 stripes in less than 2 weeks. But now I'm getting a bit slower on that, especially since I keep casting on sweaters. So yeah, but whenever I do work on it, I really enjoy it. So I don't think it's going to be a problem for me to finish it in time. I have 3 months. Plenty of time. I also want to work on my crochet granny stripe scrap blanket. I haven't showed you in a while, and it's because I haven't worked on it a lot at all, to be honest. But yeah, I kind of want to do it because it's going to be crazy colorful, and I feel it's going to be nice, even though it's mostly bad acrylic. But yeah, doing that blanket, and it's so pretty, is kind of making me in a mood to make blankets. So yeah, it's likely that once I finish this one, I will work a bit more consistently on my crochet one. I have a couple of new cast-ons to show you, and the first one is a very exciting one. This is the Wishmaker Mitts by Erika Huser. I think. I think it's how you pronounce it. Huser. But yeah, you probably know her underwing mitt, which are the mittens with the moth and the red double stitch under their wing, which are really pretty, and I might end up making those as well if I have leftovers, black and white, which I might one day. But I really like them. But I decided to do the Wishmaker ones because I really like the dandelion pattern, and this is what I have. I only started them on Monday, like 2 days ago, and I've just started the Samga set. Like, I've increased just 1 stitches, and this is what it looks so far. So there are colorwork mitts, fingerless mitts, but they have a really long, I'm gonna put it on my non-creamy arm. But they have a very long cuff. It's not very long, it's fairly long. And since I have such a tight gauge anyway. Although, well, it's maybe my wrist and hands that are so small. The pattern says to knit at a, well, recommends 2.25 millimeter. And I first cast on 2.25, and I've made the cuff and the little bit of the color work, and then I looked at it, and I had a really good, loose, comfortable stranded tension, you know, and I put it on, and I had like I could have fit both my hands like this in one. So no, not happening. So I went down to 2 millimeter, and I am intentionally knitting tight color work, trying to find a balance because I don't want them to be too big. Like, this is snug and this is nice how I want. I feel like when I'm gonna block them, they're gonna stretch a little bit. I hope not too much. So I'm trying to find a balance between having them the size I want and the color work looking decent. The thing is, it's 2 millimeters. I don't have 1.75 or 1.5, and I'm not sure I want to knit on such small needles. You know, unless I'm making fancy Estonian lace or something. This is already quite tiny. When I was making the rib, which is a twisted rib, my hands hurt a little bit and it just sticks round. So 2 millimeters is kind of my limit. It's already very small for most people, but it's how I knit my socks, so that's fine. So my color work isn't perfect. It's kind of dragging in, but it's okay. You know, I haven't done much color work. I haven't done any since my Marius cardigan, and it's pretty well. I'm knitting it two-handed, so one English, one continental, and yeah, it's not going super fast, but it's nice to do, and it's I'm having a consistent rhythm, and it's working quite well. So this is the back of the hand, and you can see the, how do you call that? Stems of the dandelion, you know, the pointy, the stick that goes out of the ground and makes a flower. Yeah, I think it's stem. Or is stem only the one for the roses? Never mind. And this is the palm, which has a really nice geometric pattern on it. So yeah, little twisted rib. I really like twisted rib. I don't know why I never make it. And I think I will make twisted ribs on my socks now, because I really like it. Just really neat. And I kind of want a sweater with twisted rib cuffs and hem. And I'm trying to think if I can incorporate it in a sweater. I don't know. Maybe the hay sweater. I want to make the hay sweater. I don't know if that will look good. Maybe it already has twisted rib. Yeah. So yeah, and the yarns I'm using is Drops Flora. I have a lot of Drops Flora. I have a lot of drops. So I'm going to use it all and not buy drops again unless they decide to be more decent people. But I love their yarn so much, especially Flora. So it's one of their wool alpaca blend. It's 65 wool, 35 alpaca, and it's just soft, squishy. It has a lovely little halo. It has an amazing stitch definition and drape, and it works for color work. It works pretty well. It's not obviously it doesn't feel like a superwash at all. It has a bit of a grip, and it's not smooth, and it's not plasticky feeling. It feels really woolly, but soft. It's not Shetland like woolly, but it still feels woolly, and I just love the alpaca drape, and so it is a decent choice for color work, I feel. When you don't have access to all the nice Rauma Norwegian yarns, or you don't really want Shetland yarn on your hands. I don't. I don't find it itchy. I can stand it on my skin on a sweater, unlike loopy yarns. But on my hands, yeah, Shetland wool on my hands, not really. Yeah, really nice and engaging pattern. I wasn't sure of my color choice at first. I thought that I should have had a dark background, but I wouldn't have. I want to use this which is Amethyst, this movie colorway, which I used in my Wonder Woman shawl, and I have this left over and I wanted to use it, and I don't have enough of it to make both mittens background color, mint color. So I chose to use a cream, a natural white as the background, and I think it looks good because the thing is, when you use white as a contrast, it looks really beautiful, but when it's a thin yarn like this, and my color work is not on point, it's good, but it's just not perfect. It's alright. Yeah, the white contrast, especially in a pattern like you see, these are already pretty small details, and then the dandelions are going to have lots of small little stitch that are spread alone. It doesn't look as good as when I have a cream background and then a contrast color on the front. I feel this is easier to read than the reverse for the state of my color work currently. And I do love dark background and then white color work while contrast on it. So I'm going to practice on it with bigger weight yarns, DK weight I think, to make other mittens, and then let's see what I can do. So I am making those as part of knit along, which is Ellie's from Skandinit year knit along. The goal is to knit 6 pairs of mittens, of colorwork mittens, throughout the year, and I definitely have more than 6 pairs of mittens in my queue, and I feel like this is a good incentive for me to start making them and get better at it, so that next winter I have nice colorwork mittens to choose from. So I'm starting with the Wishmaker mitts, and all of my other mittens in my queue are full mittens. So yeah, this will be my only fingerless mittens, and yeah, I can't wait to have them done. Do you want to see my floats? That sounds a bit, show me your floats. This could be the knitter's perv line, show me your floats. So these are my floats. They're okay, no? They're very small. You only have to catch it a few times here. No, I catch it every 4 stitch. For fingering weight, I think it's okay. I don't need to catch it more often. You know, it's like I can't catch anything. Yeah. You know, I usually catch my fill by twisting the yarns together, but this time I have decided to, you know, you do the method when you put the yarn on top of when you insert the needle through the stitch, and then you put the yarn that you want to carry on top of it, and then you knit it. And it's working 1 out of 2 times, and when I'm catching my main color, my background color, I still don't understand. I managed to do it after a few times, and then 2 seconds later, when I need to do it again, I forgot how I did it. But yeah, slowly I'm trying to do. But yeah, I'm slowly figuring it out. I'm very rambly today. I'm gonna have to be careful when I edit. My last knitting project that I want to show you is also a new cast on, and it's a new sweater. Yes. So I am making the Windfell sweater, which is a pattern that is published in Woods by Making Story, and it's Jennifer Steingass, is that her name? Steingass? Knit Love Wool. We know the girl with the pretty Norwegian inside, Icelandic inspired yokes. And it's a beautiful colorwork yoke. And I am making a mess because the pattern gives instructions to knit it bottom up. And you know, after my Marius cardigan, I have sworn that I will never knit a plain sweater bottom up. You know, a sweater that just have a detail on the yoke. I am not making it bottom up. If it has a textured stitch, sure. If it's full-on colorwork, sure, because I'm not crazy enough to reverse that yet. But if it's a yoke and then it's just stockinette, I'm not making that thing bottom up again. It's awful. I hate it. It's not making me happy. It breaks my needles. I hate it. So, my nemesis. And this only has on the hem, it has the colorwork repeat on the hem, but you know, that's really easy to do. So I'm changing that. What I'm doing is that I'm knitting, I cast on the number of stitch that is just after you join the sleeves and the body. Basically the bottom of the yoke. I cast on that with scrap yarn. Well, it's not scrap yarn, but it's just a different colored yarn. I knit a couple of stitches and then I join my actual color. I could have made a crochet provisional cast on, but I'm using Holst Supersoft. It's really thin, and even though it's sticky, I wasn't comfortable with picking up that thin of a wool in from a crochet provisional cast on. I have done crochet provisional cast on before, but not enough that I feel comfortable. So I just did that. It took me like 5 minutes more. It's fine. So I'm gonna knit up. So I'm gonna follow exactly the pattern because technically I'm doing bottom up from the yoke until the neckline, which has a lovely I-cord neckline. And then I'm going to pick up the body and the sleeves and knit downwards. That means that I have to do a couple of adjustments because the pattern has shaping. The pattern has waist shaping, and I'm not gonna do it because it's not going to be fitted anyway, and I personally don't need and don't want waist shaping on a pattern that's not a thin fitted thing. Do you see what I mean? So I'm not gonna bother with that. And the pattern has short rows shaping so that the back sits higher, and it has 3 sets of short rows, and one happens before you join. Actually, it happens at the top of the body, and then when you join, you do another set of short rows and then another set of short rows after the collarwork part, just at the neck. So I try to imagine, okay, so I'm gonna be able to do the 2 yoke short row shaping. What about the one that happens as the body? And I just I thought about it for like 2 seconds, and then I decided, no, I'm just not going to do it. I understand why it's there, so that the shoulders sits a bit higher. I think it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna need the yoke. I'm gonna put the yoke on me. I'm gonna separate for the sleeves and the body, and yeah, if it's fine, it's fine. I'm not gonna bother. And I will just knit sleeves and body downwards in a straightforward manner. So yeah, it does take away all the shaping aspect of the pattern. And yeah, not all colorwork yokes have shaping, so it is a nice option to have. I don't think it's worth the ordeal for me to make it bottom up just for the sake of shaping. The butterflies are not straight anymore. There. Sorry if that triggered someone. So yeah, I actually find it enjoyable to kind of rethink. It's nothing complicated, but it is the first time that I am not constructing a sweater the way that the pattern tells me to. So it is interesting. And that's what I have so far. So, like I said, I cast on for sleeves and body. I'm knitting the first size. Knitting the first size. I hope that I will get maybe a little bit of positive ease, but not too much. And I am ready to start the colorwork chart. I have done short rows. Where are my short rows? I have done German short rows. The pattern says to do whatever short row method you like. And I decided to try short rows because I usually do wraps and turns in sweaters, and that doesn't look good. So I decided to do short rows, and that's okay. Well, you can see them now because Holst Supersoft has the spinning oil in it, and it's like a bit, when you knit it, you see it's a bit see-through, and it's a bit weird, but it's nice to have a swatch so you can actually show the fabric. Nice thing. So before washing, after washing. I don't know if that's really yeah, you can see, even if I don't do focus stuff, you can see that these look fairly different. When you wash it, it blooms and it becomes softer and not as see-through, and it makes a really nice even fabric. So, and it drapes. So yes, I really love Holst Supersoft. It is so nice. It's really nice to knit with. The cast on was a little bit tricky, but that's really, whenever you have to cast on 300 stitches, yeah, it's always a bit unnerving. But now that I am just knitting round and round, it is really pleasant to work with. And I cannot wait to start the colorwork. I am about to do it. And let me show you the colors that I chose. So this is Nougat. which is a very light grey. My main contrast color will be Elderberry. And how convenient is that big cake? And my second contrast color will be Red Clover. I already showed you this a little bit ago, a little while ago. So yeah, more like this actually. Because the Red Clover is inside an elderberry motif on the yoke. And then elderberry is repeated in the hem. And yes, should I reverse them? No, you need the outer to be darker. Yeah, really eager to start the yoke, the actual color work, and to see how it looks like. I'm also looking forward to having a flat round yoke, you know, to make a pretty Instagram picture like you do. Yeah, you have some raglan shaping, which is making those kind of points here. Yeah, I hope it's going to fit me. Yeah. I think the yoke will probably go quite fast. And we'll see for the rest. But at least it will be top down. So that's always better. That's it for the knitting content of this episode. I will quickly show you my weaving progress. I am working on a big hand-woven scarf wrap made out of hand-dyed fingering weight yarns. And I have actually woven a bit. Not a lot, but a bit. So I am going as random as possible with the colors I'm doing. And I just wanted to have it set up. So I started weaving with Afternoon Tea by Knit Cosmic Strings, which is a yarn that I have in my So Faded. I hem stitched all the way across, so that's done. Then I used some singles from Hedgehog Fibers. This is Teacup. Then I use a black yarn. Then I use Reeve Dye from Stranded Dye Works. And yeah, it's just really enjoyable to see how variegated and speckled yarn work in the interaction between the weft and the warp. Yeah, I just think it's really nice and subtle. And I think I need to incorporate more like brown, orangey shades now, because if not, it's going to look really pastel-y at the end. But yeah, it's really pleasant to do. You've probably seen, I don't care for my edges. Yeah, it's one of those things that you start doing because you're lazy, and then it becomes an artistic choice, you know, Yeah, I don't care for neat edges. When you wash the weave anyway, it kind of expands and makes it a bit neater, so I'm just being careful about my tension and making sure that it looks alright. And it does. So yeah, that's what I have so far. I won't be showing it to you every week because it's just going to be quite plain, but once I have a substantial amount of hand-woven fabric done, I will share it with you. I feel like working on it because I think something is going to go wrong. So I don't know, I feel insecure about it. So yeah, whenever I'm always like this. Whenever something nasty happens to me, or I have to deal with something that is a risk, like some administrative task or whatever, I want to finish it super fast. I need to get done with it so that if it ends up being bad, then it's, I know, you know. So that's how I feel about it. But yeah, hopefully nothing bad will happen and it's just me making up things. And finally, I have some cross stitch to share with you. I am still working on my Sleepy Fox. Oh, that's so pretty. I am still working on my Sleepy Fox pattern by Little Beach Hut that I got as a kit for Christmas. And I'm making the leaves, and there are more leaves than I thought. You know, when I finished the fox, I thought, oh, I'm gonna do the leaves and then it's gonna be fun. But there are a lot of leaves. And you know, and they're really small, tiny motifs that are spaced, like with space between each other, and I don't really like doing that, but it's still satisfying to finish a section of leaves, and I believe the crown all around is going to look very pretty. And then I'll just have to do the outlining. Again, I say just have, but it's quite a lot of outlining to make it a crown. Yeah, it's quite packed in my tiny hoop, but it fits. I am not sure how it goes here. If it's gonna go towards the edge or not. If it doesn't, I'll just pull it a little bit to that side so that these have a bit more room. But yeah, that's how it looks. It's really cute. I like it. Yeah, I want to work on this, and I will. I hope to have it finished in a few weeks. That's it for the crafting content of this episode. Yeah, quite a bunch of different things, which is nice. I really like changing what I'm doing along the week instead of just focusing on one thing. So yeah, I hope you enjoy seeing different things too. The last section of this week's episode is going to be my talk recommendation kind of segment, and again it is about a TV series, because I go through series like The Flash, and I am still reading It by Stephen King, and it's taking me forever, although I am still very much enjoying it. And once something happens, I will make a little update on that, I guess. But right now, it's Netflix talk, and Dirk Gently's holistic detective agency. I don't know. Dirk Gently. Why did I not know about this sooner? It is perfect. I just found out about it like a couple of weeks ago, and I just zoomed through the 2 seasons. They don't have much episodes either. It's amazing. It's a Doctor Who on acid for nutcases. I mean, if you think that Doctor Who is a little bit crazy, you know, like Dirk Gently is the next level crazy. And it matches my humor so perfectly. I was amazed at it. I couldn't believe it. I mean, when something's so like every scene that is completely absurd and out of this world, like what were the writers thinking? What are you doing? I just loved so much. Like, this is perfect. This is just magical. So, Dirk Gently is a sci-fi show where basically we start with Todd, which is kind of the loser character. He works in a hotel and stuff, and he finds murder. He at work at his hotel, someone got murdered, and it's really weird. And he stumbles upon Dirk Gently bumps into his life. Like, hey, you are my new assistant. I am a holistic detective. What does that mean? And so, holistic is the interconnectivity of things. like everything is connected, the universe is driving you to things, and coincidences are not really coincidences. So basically that's what Dirk Gently is. He is dragged to situations and coincidences, and you know, he decided to be a detective, and when he's working on a case, he's always completely randomly going to find the next clue and the next clue, and he found the solution. And yeah, he is part of a bigger thing with various people that have similar powers, so to say, that are all under the protection slash surveillance of an organization which are trying to control them. And yeah, so you have several characters. You have Dirk Gently, then you have a crazy assassin who cannot die. Basically, you can shoot at her, she will not get the bullet because the universe makes her not being able to die or get hurt. Then you have the there are actually 4. You know, that's the thing. There's a group of other magical characters that are like vampires. That is that they suck the energy out of people, and they usually do it with magical people like Dirk Gently because it doesn't really hurt them. Whereas if they do it with normal human beings, it can kill them. And they're called the 3... I don't remember. They're called the 3, but they're actually 4. You know. What? And it's just so ridiculous. And yeah, it's absurd. It's completely random. Some characters are... You know, when a character is clichéic in a comical way and is really... It's pushing it to an extent. It's you have to be quite tolerant towards randomness to like this show, I feel, but it is totally my thing. It is adapted from a novel by Douglas Adams, which is the author of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you know, the 42 thing, which I actually never read. But you know, it's that kind of weird, crazy, random, absurd humor. So it is really funny, and it is really attaching too. Like, the characters are quite moving, and they're all really interesting. And yeah, Todd, which is like the main character with Dirk Gently, he's played by Elijah Wood, which weirdly enough doesn't make me think of the Lord of the Rings every time I see his face. So the show managed to make me forget. You know, it's like Daniel Radcliffe. You know, I like both of them, but whenever you see them, you're like, oh, look, it's Frodo. Look, it's Harry Potter. And you're not able to see whatever it is that they're actually playing now. And that's kind of sad. It is me. I know that they're perfectly able to play different things, but it is something that kind of bugs me. And it's alright for this. Elijah Wood is doing a pretty good job. And the show is so good. And I am so sad that it's cancelled. It is quite peculiar. So I understand that it doesn't have a massive audience. But you know, when you see that they're keeping it up with Black Mirror, I don't like Black Mirror. Yeah. And they're not keeping Dirk Gently, which is such a nice, fun, different type of show. I mean, it is quite unique. Whenever you think it's going somewhere, it goes into completely ridiculous scene. And yeah, the first season, like, both seasons have kind of a one plot kind of thing. And the first season involves soul transfer. So yeah, a black cat, a kitten, is actually a shark. You see where it's going. And in the second season, you have pink-haired people fighting with big scissors. Yeah. So I really recommend it if you like absurd humor and random plots that barely make any sense, but it's okay. They do make sense though. It is it works really well if you're looking at it from a kind of detective story point of view. But it's just, yeah, when you start with pink-haired scissors fighters, what would you want to do? Yeah. So that's my messy recommendation. If you like crazy things, watch Dirk gently and cry about it being cancelled on the internet so that maybe it is going to be renewed. But yeah, I doubt it will. That's it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I wish you a happy day, night, and week. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.